and welcome to the Plebeian Perspective Rampage review. We're a little late with this review just because, the time for Rampage, TBS decided to knock it around to 6 p.m. Eastern.
Which is when our children are still awake, so.
Right. So, at any rate, I am El Buntador Numero Dos, and I'm here with...
I'm Alice.
That's right.
That's my name.
So let's get right into it. Our first match was the Bastard Pac versus Asuka Rocky Romero. It was what I thought was a good beginning match. A lot of energy, a lot of spots from these two that we're kind of used to. Although Pac not as high flying as he was, or I've seen him for some of the bigger matches.
I wonder a little bit if that was to allow Asuka to show off his stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think this was a good opening match. Early in the match, there was a lot of posturing. Like they were kind of just like, woo, woo,
yep.
Woo. I'm like, oh my God, fight each other.
Yeah. It took a few minutes to get going, but once it got going, it definitely was high action, high octane.
Yeah.
We did get Pac does get the win by tap out. And
which I honestly thought was disappointing.
Yeah.
I found it disappointing, especially after how exciting the match was and how quickly he tapped out. I thought that was lame.
Yeah, and I'm kind of, I don't know. The last few times I've seen Rocky Romero in the ring, he's lost. So, and I get it. Pac, he's got the big match coming up this weekend, or coming up tomorrow, I should say, on Double or Nothing with Death Triangle against the Bullet Club. So, of course they're not going to let Pac lose.
Well,
prior to
I
that,
knew that. Like going into the match, some of these you can just feel. Like you know who's going to win. I didn't know he has the fight tomorrow, whatever.
Yep.
But I was like, the Bastard's going to win.
Right.
That's easy. But I think he should have won by a pin.
It would have been so much better.
I think it would have been much better if he'd won by pin.
Yeah, definitely. But so at the end, Death Triangles, that's Penta, Cero Miedo, and Rey Fenix, they come out to congratulate Pac. They have now rejoined each other, and they do make the trios team of Death Triangle, which is for me very exciting.
Cool.
Very exciting. I'm so stoked. I'm stoked. Well, because Penta and Rey are the high flying luchadors that we like, and Pac also does high flying stuff. So I'm excited for their Sunday match at Double or Nothing with the Bullet Club, because I think it's going to be a beautiful match. But at any rate, so then while all this was going on, the Learning Tree Chris Jericho was on commentary.
He would not stop talking.
Yep.
How obnoxious.
With the Redwood Big Bill. However, at the end of the match, Chris Jericho took a few moments to talk about his 3-way match coming up at Double or Nothing.
He did it from the announcer table.
Yep.
Ugh, poor choice.
Yep.
And I think it was to so that Hook could sneak up. Hook could have gotten in and been at the ring. That was so.
Well, right. So what that setup was, Shibata comes running out, and him and Big Bill they trade fisticuffs as they head backstage, and then out of the crowd, the handsome terror of Brooklyn, I don't know, Hook, he snuck up on Chris Jericho, and they pulled him into the audience, and they fought in the back.
Fought into the back, please.
So it
didn't feel genuine. It felt kind of forced. It was really obnoxious. Chris Jericho walked away from him.
Yeah.
If you're trying to show that you're fighting and you're trying to amp this up, then chase him out.
Yeah.
What are you doing? This whole thing was stupid.
Yep.
Boring.
Yep.
Poorly written.
It was, and it also seemed out of place.
Right.
Of everything in the show.
Sense.
Yeah, it just kind of threw the whole rhythm off. Because then after we cut to commercial, we come back from commercial, and we have a backstage segment with Renee Paquette, who's talking to Hook and Shibata about the goings on that just happened. Who comes waddling in but Samoa Joe?
Waddling? You're going to use the word waddling?
Yes.
He doesn't waddle.
Who comes sashaying in? Samoa Joe.
I'll take that.
Who
was saying everything I was saying of Hook.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I think
he had words.
Yep.
I love Samoa Joe. I mean, I like him. I like fight his fighting style. But in that moment, when I was yelling at Hook, the TV, whatever, Samoa Joe comes in and says what I'm saying. I'm like, yes, and then, my man.
Yeah, and then he called Shibata Speak and Spell.
That was pretty fun.
And then at the end of the segment, Shibata does this thing where he does the Google Translate on the phone, the Speak and Spell thing. So I thought that was we didn't need the whole Chris Jericho spot. We could have just had that Shibata Hook Samoa Joe spit and fire spot.
Yeah, then, we didn't need whatever the heck that was before it. Yep. It was not necessary.
Yep. But this leads us into our squash match of the night, which was Samoa Joe versus Dom Kubri.
I'm so glad you wrote that down because I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
Well, he was making his something like that. So
Yep. But suffice to say, I mean, Kubri did get some shots off on Samoa Joe.
He did.
And then Samoa Joe killed him. Not literally killed him.
Thank you.
But Samoa Joe won. It was a squash match. So.
It was a squash match.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. We have another backstage segment where Renee Paquette is interviewing Deonna Purrazzo. And Deonna Purrazzo is talking about how her and Thunder Rosa are finally getting part 2 of their rivalry at Buy-In over a Double or Nothing. What'd you think about this spot?
It's okay. Sorry. You know, a lot of the time I feel like Renee is like asleep and doesn't like her job. But this night I thought she was like alive and awake and a good interviewer. I don't know. Maybe she just doesn't like Rampage. I can't tell sometimes. Because I've seen clips of her where I'm like, this is the person I want to see. Anyway, so she was like alive and engaging this time. But like Deonna Purrazzo, if you wanted to talk about like being a Jersey girl and like doing things like Jersey, I feel like that she just missed the mark. Like, I didn't feel like she's like, this is how we do it in Jersey. I'm like, is it? No,
I mean,
I disagree. I mean, I'm not her. I don't know. Like, I didn't grow up in her environment, but like, no.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying.
Like, we're gonna do it Jersey style under the big lights in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I am enjoying Deonna Purrazzo's work as a heel now that she's done more of a heel turn.
Is that what she was doing?
Yeah.
I could tell. See, I thought it was just because we're from New Jersey. We're just like that.
I mean, yes. Right. So it
didn't read as heel
quite
to
literally acting like the person that stands behind us at the big old place.
Yeah, right. Like
so you know,
it wasn't like, oh, that's heel. I was like, yeah.
But yeah, no, she has taken a bit of a heel turn. Well, not a bit of a heel turn. She has gone heel, and she has been a lot more alive in her promos and whatnot ever since she's turned heel. So that's been very enjoyable to see. And I mean, having seen Thunder and Deonna's first match over at Daly's Place, I'm very excited to see this match too coming up on Sunday. Okay. But this leads us into our next match of the night, which had El Toro Blanco Rush versus Isaiah Cassidy of oh my god, is that Private Party? And we could have cut like the first 10 minutes of this match. Easily. Because by the time...
This was, for me, the worst match of the night.
Yeah. And
that's so disappointing because I think Rush is a great wrestler.
Yep. Right? And Isaiah Cassidy's a great wrestler too.
I mean, this was the first time I saw him. But like, they spent the first 10 minutes just beating up Cassidy.
Yeah. It was really...
like
really, I mean,
it wasn't even like ruthless or unhinged. It was like
boring. That's what it was. Yeah,
it was boring.
They could have had that like, and I'm probably overinflating it by saying 10 minutes, but however much time they spent with that, they could have cut it in half.
Yes,
and easily gotten to
whatever they were trying to achieve,
the more exciting part of the match, where Isaiah Cassidy started to make his comeback, and then we started flip-flopping in the match. But by the time that, for me, and
I was done paying attention to the match by the time that happened.
Yeah,
Like,
the only reason I was paying attention is because I was jotting notes down.
yeah, it was not a good one.
Yeah, and also, Isaiah Cassidy is one of those wrestlers who deserves better. Like if you're gonna put him in a match where he's gonna get beat like that, fine. But yeah, they could have cut it shorter and it would have been fine. But at any rate, Roosh does end up with the win.
I'm sorry. I was just disappointed because last time I saw Roosh, I really liked him.
Yeah.
I really liked him. And I was like looking forward to this match. And then I'm like, this is hard to watch. Not because like it's painful or whatever, but like it's boring.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is we've seen, or at least I've seen, Isaiah Cassidy wrestle opponents of that same caliber, like Samoa Joe, and not get like a 10-minute drumming, of getting curb stomped, So yeah, not least favorite match of the night. But then we got a segment where we had Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony talking about how Mogul Embassy is dead, and because Mogul Embassy is dead, they now are back to their winning ways. They didn't. Yeah, that was it.
This was also not great.
Yeah.
Who was the guy who talked a lot? Not bad hair, not bad facial hair.
Oh,
the locks in the jacket.
Yeah.
Do you know his name?
I can't remember his name.
He was the best part of that whole segment.
Yep.
Period.
I mean, I love me a Gates of Agony and Brian Cage, so
okay, that's fine. You can like it.
I was good. I was good with that.
But like, I didn't get. He was. Why are his arms so big?
Because he's the machine.
Why are his arms? That's not what he said. He didn't say he was the machine.
Because he's Wolverine. That's why.
Wolverine had better facial hair.
Anyway.
And then we had angry porcelain doll.
Toa. Yeah, he's angry Samoan. Yep.
His skin is flawless, so that's why I'm going with porcelain doll.
I mean, it was in that
he got
light.
Really close to the camera. Yeah. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I want to know your skincare routine.
Right?
But also, why are you so bad?
Because he's Samoan, and I guess that's the only way you can portray Samoans in professional wrestling is bad. I mean, look at the bloodline, Roman Reigns and all that.
Yeah, but they talked.
Yeah, but they still get angry and are angry. And
I don't know. I guess wrestling just kind of is angry all the time.
Yeah. So that brings us to our last match of the night. This was, yes,
top of the night for me.
So we had Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander versus Anna Jay and Alex Windsor making her AEW debut.
This match was so much fun. I did not expect it to be fun because I saw Anna Jay come out and Alex Windsor, and they say, it's her debut. And, not every time, but most of the times when I see Anna Jay fight, she's losing.
Yes.
And this person has a debut. So they come out and like, I immediately know they're losing. And so I thought it wasn't going to be like very exciting.
Right.
But I felt at least they kind of like gave them a run for their money.
They did. I mean? They did. Yeah.
It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, there were actually a few moments in there that I thought that Chris was gonna get pinned.
Yeah.
So.
But like, this is something that could have been done in the Roosh versus Cassidy match.
Yes.
Right. Like they could have traded energy, made the crowd be like, oh my god, who's gonna win, you know, instead of just letting Roosh just dominate for the first. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm
that's fine.
Derailing.
That's fine.
But this I loved.
Yep.
I loved this. The tag team, they work together. I love Willow and Chris Statlander as a team.
Yes.
They're so good.
Yep.
They're so much fun.
And Anna Jay looked great. Alex Windsor, for this being her AEW debut, looked fantastic.
I loved her stuff.
Yeah, and they all worked really well together.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And then we do end up getting Willow and Chris Statlander. They got the win, to which hit the CEO's music because the CEO, Mercedes Moné, comes walking in, kicks her heels off, runs to the ring, and jumps Willow. And Charity and everyone has to come out and pull them apart.
I also liked this spot.
Yep.
I also liked this spot a lot. I know it's like leading up to the Double or Nothing, right, on Sunday. I thought this was great because you see it a lot with male wrestlers and you don't see it a lot with female wrestlers. So I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really fun.
Yep. And that closed Rampage for this week. So you've gone a while without watching a AEW program.
It's been a minute.
in its entirety. How was this Rampage back
good.
for you? Not good.
No, when I was watching more consistently, Rampage was always at the bottom for me. I don't know if it's because it's 1 hour,
So, Alice, this was your first AEW show in its entirety. Watching it
in a while.
Yep. So what'd you think coming back?
This was okay. I don't know. So when I was watching more consistently earlier in the year, Rampage was always kind of like the bottom rated for me. I don't know if it's because like it's an hour long, or I don't feel like it gets the same attention that Collision gets.
Right.
Because I haven't watched Dynamite, so I can't really compare it.
Yep.
But Collision is like far and away better than Rampage. I don't know why. I don't can they not get the people booked? Should they make it longer? It always kind of feels like filler to me. I don't really feel like there's anything of real storytelling value, like pushing people forward or whatever, things like that, or their personal vendettas or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. So, it was good.
Empanada scale, 1 to 10.
Was it 1 to 10 or 1 to 5?
It was 1 to 10. The council of the almighty Hottentots of Biconics has said it has to be 10, divisible number.
Okay. Well, I take your divisible number and I give you a 5, which is it's a prime number. So 5 out of 10. Yeah, this was not great for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 too. There have been a lot of great Rampages. This one, for whatever reason, just seemed weak. Even the Rampages that they had like last week and the week before, where it was part of the 3-hour block with Collision, they seem like they came off better. And I think it's just like the spots, like the whole Chris Jericho thing felt man. Then we had there
were multiple times throughout the hour where I was like, what is happening? What's happening? Which is like not a thing you want someone to say
right
about a show.
Right. So that's that. Yep. So that is your plebeian perspective on this week's Rampage. Join us next week when we will be back, hopefully doing the live thing, and we will be doing this again. Yeah. So until then, stay Biconic, everyone.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.